Okay.
Okay, well, actually, wait, just let me do the public notice and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Warwick will hold budget work sessions for fiscal year 2021 through 2022 at 9:30 a.m. on the following dates: Monday, March 8th, Tuesday, March 9th, and Wednesday, March 10th today. Pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 202.1, Village of Warwick budget work sessions will be conducted virtually via Zoom video conference and may be viewed live by the public on the Village of Warwick's New York YouTube channel. And that's if you go to Warwick, New York specifically. So that is the public notice. If you would please, if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
United States of America,
and to
to
the
the
republic
Republic
for
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Michael, where do we begin? Are we going to begin with Chris?
Chris.
Katie, what are the page numbers for Chris's page 66?
Okay, it's F8340.
Yep.
F8340. And F8310. So we're going to start with F8310, which is basically the administration. We have only office supplies, which seem to be increased. And we have the service contract, which I assume is increased based on whatever.
The contract.
So the only discussion, if anything, is office supplies.
Which is basically Diane's section of the budget. That's what you're looking at, Mike?
Yeah. $5,100 for office supplies. That's up from $2,800, and we've always spent anything. Is there something we're doing new?
That's based on her water bills, late notices, copy paper. It's nothing new that she normally doesn't get. So I know, wasn't there a piece of equipment she was talking about?
I don't see any.
No, she got her printer this year.
Out of this year's budget.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we put that back down to 2,800?
Yeah, I don't know why she put the same amount.
But we should ask her first because
No, I will just jump out of the office and ask her.
She's not here
She's
today.
not here
She's not
today.
here. Okay.
But I mean, the fact that we've only spent $802 this year may just mean she was holding off. And so the supplies, the paper, special, forms that are used for water sewer billing, maybe isn't intended to be purchased this year and got pushed till next year.
Yeah,
Speculation only, but we need to confirm.
Yeah,
that.
we need to confirm that with her. Because she puts those numbers in there and I don't have my fingers in that pie. So we better confirm with her before we cut it.
Okay, F8340. We have equipment. The request is for,
The slope mower is a remote controlled mower for the dam heads at the reservoirs.
Chris, just maybe to explain to the trustees, how are we getting that done now?
Right now, we have the flail mower for the mini excavator, but it can't do the lower dam head, and it leaves a strip in the middle of the upper in the middle that we have to do that by hand with weed whackers. It's time consuming, and it's a safety hazard for the workers due to poison ivy and yellow jackets.
And don't forget snakes.
Yeah, snakes, been there, done that myself. So I feel for the guys, especially in the hot summer months. I've showed the guys how to avoid those dangers as best I can, but simply put, it's not always as easy as said as done. I know we've asked for this piece of equipment in the past, but I've been keeping an eye on it. And as you can see from the number that I put on that budget line, it's roughly $20,000 to $30,000 cheaper than it has been 5 to 6 years ago. So that's where we're at.
well, what
And
was
at
the
one
pur-
point, kind of to test it out, we had borrowed one from Cornwall, and it was effective in getting the job done. Did we also have a vendor come in and demonstrate as well?
I also got the guy where I got the price from offered to bring his down and demo it when the weather breaks in the spring, when the stuff starts growing.
And what's the delivery time?
For if we purchase a new one,
Yeah,
I think he said a couple of weeks,
good.
but
Okay.
I can verify that when we get them to bring the model down for a demo.
Okay. Well, I guess if we decide to leave it in the budget, we should probably begin the procurement process before next year, and then be able to have it so that we're not, one cutting through the season before we get it.
Well, the other thing is right now we're limiting ourselves to twice a year just to keep up there. With this piece of equipment, we could up that ante, hopefully 3 to 4 times, to better maintain what we're doing up there. To hopefully keep the DEC and Tectonic happier with what we're doing.
Do we have any other opportunities to use this equipment?
Absolutely. I'm sure Mike Mosier could put it to use in other areas.
what was the cab chassis that we just bought? Wasn't that for the same reason?
Cab chassis. No, that was a truck. That was to replace a water truck, an actual truck.
Okay. Then we have a correlator.
That's a water leak detection device. It's one of those pieces of equipment where when you need it, you'd like to have it. We have a couple instances in the past where we'd like to have it. Usually, if I have a leak where I can't pinpoint it, I have to call somebody in that has it and is used to using it. But if you have it, you can save time pinpointing a leak. So that's why it's in the budget.
And Chris, this just to, a little more information. This goes above and beyond the sensitivity and the ability to pinpoint the leak than the equipment that we currently have.
Right. The equipment that we have now, we use by sounding to locate a leak. In other words, it's just a listening device that you use your ears to locate leaks. This actually is electronic and uses a computer program, and you put electronic listening devices on things like valves, meters, or hydrants, and it records the sound. And then the computer program, based on the water main size and what the water main is made out of, it helps you pinpoint exactly where the leak is, rather than me trying to find it by listening to these objects, and then trying to find it by listening on the road surface.
Right. And you said we had some issues this year where you really couldn't pinpoint it with the equipment that we already have, and what you had to call in a service provider to do that for you.
Right. I mean, I knew where it was within reason, but I wasn't confident enough with digging holes in the road, that it was right there to dig a hole in the road. So I wanted verification, so I had to call somebody in to do that.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I can find a leak without this device, but there are on occasions times when this device would come in handy. It's also good for checking sections of the distribution system for minor water leaks that we may or may not notice throughout the year, if you have the time to do such a thing.
That would be outside of our doing, a major full system leak detection study.
Right.
Yeah. Which happens every 3 to 5 years.
Right.
So
if you have time to check a section and then check a section and then check a section. But the more of these sensors that you get with whatever kit, then obviously the expense goes up. You can get the minimum amount of sensors with each device, to keep the cost down.
What's the accuracy on the correlator for detecting a leak?
They're pretty accurate. I mean, I couldn't give you within whatever, but I mean, Keith might know even more so than I, since he did this for a living for a while.
Well, Chris, the last time we had the contractor come in to do this for us, how close did he get?
I think he was within 2 or 3 feet.
Okay.
Which is accurate enough to call for the mark out and dig, excavate a hole for the repair. Keith, what was your experience?
They're priceless when you need them. Especially if you've got areas with maybe cobblestone street or concrete street under the blacktop. Think Chris right now works with basically a glorified stethoscope. He walks around, puts a stethoscope on the blacktop, and hopefully he hears it. If you go to the doctor and you have parka on, he can't hear your heartbeat right. He might hear it here, he might hear it there. And when you've got to tear up Main Street, say, and you've got to bypass traffic, and you find a dry hole because you didn't pinpoint that leak, what's it worth? Yeah, you could honestly say you could pay for this unit in one leak if it was one of those type of leaks in the middle of Main Street and you can't find it, that sort of thing. Or if you can't maintain, remember when we lost the tower? We couldn't find the leak. Remember when the whole village was under a boil water order, hospital shut down, surgery and all that? If Chris had correlators, he could start between sections of town and say, well, it's over here, and then do it again and do it again. And the setup of a correlator, if you can set it up on your valves, takes about 10 to 15 minutes. The actual computer reading takes less than 3 minutes, and you've got your answer. It's telling you it's so many feet that way in that direction. You know where the main is, you know where the leak is. Or it's on that branch going another way. It's a pretty complex thing. It's hard for me to sit here and describe it in a minute or two, not waste your whole day here. But as I said, it could pay for itself in one bad leak, because I know a couple of times in Chris that I've seen Chris when he's in that situation and needed it. The guy had to come down from Upper J up by Lake Placid. He had to, so, and if that guy's available to just leave right now is the next thing. We had that leak on Kings Highway, I think under the bridge, Chris, am I right about that? 2 years ago.
Yep.
We were a few days, we couldn't find the leak. We knew the area, couldn't find the leak. The man came down and in 10, 15 minutes, he said, "It's right here." I don't know if that answers your question, but it's like a doctor having an MRI. You can work without it, but you're working in decades old,
Any other questions on these?
next.
I guess my question is that, can we tap into the equipment fund for this?
This is what, this is,
This
That's
is what I
general.
know.
Yeah,
So is the equipment fund solely in the general fund and,
right now,
Yes.
that's all we're doing.
okay,
We have never tapped into the general fund to buy equipment for water or sewer.
that was
We
just.
normally do one of two things. We do a BAN or we take it out of operations.
Okay.
But remember, we are draining the operations because of the plant.
Was that a pun?
Excuse me?
he
What was that?
said, "Is that a pun?"
We are draining.
Not intentional.
Raining.
You should be in this room, you know?
So that just begs the question that maybe we should look at in the bigger picture to have some kind of equipment fund for water and sewer.
No, that's what the land tax is all about.
Okay,
The land tax technically is to either pay for the BANs or to purchase, help purchase equipment. Now, we circle around that. It's for the BANs, which was to buy for equipment. But there's no reason why we cannot use the land tax to buy equipment. But remember, we're trying to squeeze the land tax for the sewer plant. And of course, the one that's coming after that as well.
okay.
So, we can leave it in there and then take a look at this when we get the whole picture.
Okay.
All right, the next top is auto maintenance, 12,000. Why is that way up?
We left that the way it was per my conversation with the mechanic, because even though we replaced the older of the vehicles, which was the cabin chassis you were mentioning, Mike, the other two are already 6 years old. And he said they're both going to be requiring maintenance. So that figure is based on my conversation per the mechanic. I'm sure there's room for some cuts, but we'd have to talk to him about how much room, because I'm not a mechanic.
That does seem like a lot of money and a pretty significant increase over what we've budgeted and spent over the last 5 years.
So
I would suggest drop it back to 7.
I would think that would be,
Well, I mean, you're not on the hook for it. You went to the mechanic and we decided to
yeah, no,
adjust
no.
it.
I barring any major whatever, I would think that should cover the general maintenance on the two vehicles that are not even 10 years old. I would concur.
Okay, so we're
7?
changing the 12 to a 7, and now we have the water tank repairs. I know there's a lot of zeros there. Is that a mistake?
No, that's the replacement of the main reservoir water storage tank. That's our $2 million project that's been sitting there for years. It's the one we now have the design in hand for, and I certainly we would like the feds to come up with some good stimulus programs for the economy that would allow us to, qualify and get most, if not all, of this paid for by the feds.
They've already spent $5 trillion. How much more does the feds have?
They print the money. I can't tell you when they stop the press.
Okay, let me know.
Um,
So what do we want to do with this? Do we want to wait to see if we can get some funding? And the second question, and most important question, is the board sooner or later has to make a determination if a water tank is considered an infrastructure repair, which we have in the general fund, which seems to contradict what I said about the equipment, but doesn't, because the infrastructure was totally for infrastructure. We've never defined whether what the infrastructure meant. And we deliberately did that so that the board has flexibility to use the infrastructure funds for whatever they deem an infrastructure project is required. So the question comes down, is the infrastructure funds something that we can use for this particular aspect? And should we wait to find out, a second part of the question, should we wait to find out if and when the federal government passes some infrastructure relief, which is supposed to happen at the end of this year, that this might be part and parcel of what fits in there?
I think it's certainly worthy of waiting until we see whether the federal government's going to do anything for projects of this nature. And we also talked in the past about redirecting the monies that we've set aside for the dams to take care of this, and then having to rebuild that
Yes.
money also.
Yeah, so we have a lot of options. So you think we can wait until another year on this?
Well, I think we can wait until we know one way or the other relative to the stimulus package. If the stimulus money comes to fruition, then I think we should jump on that opportunity. If not, the following year would be the year we'd have to, I think, fish or cut bait with this.
All right,
Well,
the
excuse
stimulus
me.
money is just gonna go, I'm not sure it's specifically designed for anything, just to come into our budget.
No,
not sure.
And then there is money that will be connected, that may go to the state actually, as opposed to directly to us for, water or infrastructure. And then there's the infrastructure bill itself, which is, being, put towards Congress soon. So I think there's a lot of options. My feeling is, though, we should wait to put that dollar amount in the budget, but we should do all the legwork to prepare so that, let's say next year, we would be ready to go. We have the design. It's just a matter of finding the funding source. But I think even if the funding source were to happen this year, it would be a year before we would be able to really actively pursue this project. So,
Okay,
Should we at least leave the 30,000 for emergency repairs and maintenance?
definitely.
what?
The 30,000 stays. Yeah, we're not going to take the 30,000. We're just touching the tank.
Well, we never had repairs for the tanks in our budget at all.
repairs, emergency repairs / maintenance. That's separate from the 2 million.
Yeah, but we never had anything like that. We always put it down pretty close into, if I'm not mistaken, we put it into water line repairs, which we felt was all the repairs that need to be done with water.
That's a separate line.
I know it's a separate line, but I don't know if we want to, are we starting to add? You already have 10,000 for equipment repairs. And I don't know, do we need 30,000 or can we just combine that with the water line repairs?
Well, if I'd have known that if I have something happening on the storage tanks, if I could take that from a different line, I would add more money on that line. But I thought that's what the separate budget lines were for.
We haven't gotten to that one yet, have we?
No,
Okay.
I
Do we
would
need
suggest-
30,000 for those repairs? Don't forget, this comes out of operations. This is not as simple as it sounds.
Well, neither is predicting if something's going to happen or not.
You mean you don't see the future?
I'm still looking for that crystal ball.
I know Barry
Can't
does.
find it.
All right.
I mean,
move
Barry, what do you think?
I think if we need to have something in there. I mean, if we need to do something to the storage tanks other than replace them, it's probably going to be a bigger nut than 30 thou, but it wouldn't hurt to have 20 or 30 thou in there just to have something to at least start with relative to taking care of an emergency.
Okay, moving down to meter maintenance.
All right, meter maintenance. All right, meter maintenance.
We have 122,000. Last year we budgeted 85.
Yep, so
Using-
basically, how I broke that down was the 85 again, plus 20,000 for the high. Barry gave me a list of, I think it was I don't know how many of high usage accounts that he wants to try to get upgraded this year also. So that roughly came out to 20,000 if we do all those. That adds up to the 105, and then the 17,000 is to the purchase of the 2 new handhelds devices.
Chris, how old are the current handheld devices?
I want to say I'd have to double check, but I want to say 12 to 14 years.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking maybe 8 to 10. So around 10. Technology changes, they wear out. These are the ones that we use to read the meters. So important to have.
We use them to read the meters. We use them for service calls. We use them to program the new meters when they're installed. And last year, one of the GPS devices went bad on one of the handhelds, and I was recommended that the stuff is getting hard to replace on those. So it was recommended to me by our meter supplier that we might want to consider getting those replaced. The vehicle mount units, they said we're good to go on them for the foreseeable future, but those they highly recommend that we replace those.
And as far as the additional money for the meters for high volume customers, case in point, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but the apartments, I think on Cherry Street, they complained that one of their meters was not functioning correctly, that it was recording more water usage.
Over registering.
Yeah, and so Chris removed the meter, sent it out for service, and it was under registering by about 20%. So we're losing, with that meter, we lost a lot of revenue. So that's what the impetus is, to replace some of these meters so that we can, capture the lost water and increase our revenue for it.
Aren't we done putting all the new meters in here?
We're roughly, we have roughly 1,270 replaced and about 1,350 to go. So
So we're
we're
halfway there?
yeah, we're just under half. But don't forget, per our previous budget meeting conversations, it was decided to replace as they fail instead of being more proactive because of the cost.
Are we changing that policy?
Well, you want me to, might be a good time to have our discussion per my note at the bottom of the page right there.
You got a couple hundred thou?
The core made upgrade options. What was it? 1.2 million?
No, we're not
And be
going.
done and be done with it?
I don't think it was that much, but
Well, just so happens I have it right here.
okay.
Barry, you have a copy of that, don't you?
Yeah, somewhere.
One was $953,616.26 for 84 months. And one was $1,001,986.78 for 120 months. I can make copies of this available for all you guys if you need it.
I don't think we have the ability to do it, so
That's
save
why-
the
that's-
tree.
Yeah, well, that's why it wasn't presented. But you did tell me to make a note here
Yep.
to discuss it.
And we're doing what, about 100 a year?
Between 100 and 150, but I mean, this year the COVID really knocked it out of us because of the cut on the appointments. So,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, listen, I understand that, that's a big money number, but I just wanted you guys to know that, the options were there. But I know that there's a lot of money being spent in other areas of our water and sewer. So I get it, but if anybody wants, I do have the documentation if you want to see it. Any more questions on meter maintenance?
Okay, we're down to water line repairs.
Water line repairs. All right, the Galloway Heights PRV, that number is subject to come down. I still have to do some investigation for that. I'm waiting for the weather to cooperate a little bit more because I got a field trip planned with Dave Getz, and I would like for him to be present when I open that vault. That's got one of those traffic lids on it. It's probably between 300 and 400 pounds. So when I do go into that, I'd like for him to be there. So I want to coordinate that with Dave when we do our other field trip. I'd like to do that at the same time so he can be present. So that may have room to come down, hopefully. The John Street water main replace, Oakland Ave replace, investigate, Campbell Road tie-in. Those are all open for discussion. Barry?
Yeah, the Campbell Road, is that the whole sectional line that connects it down Campbell, from Oakland down to Campbell?
Yeah, it's like halfway up Campbell
Right.
to finish the tie into Oakland. That was per our discussion to improve water quality and to eliminate a dead end. I know Mike said something about there was something about the road permit with the state or something, and then we weren't sure how much it would benefit, and then it went by the wayside. So we put it back in here. Barry wanted me to put it back in here for discussion and see if we wanted to revisit. So it's back in here. Anytime you can eliminate a dead end in a distribution system is a good thing. So that's my thought on it.
River Street, I thought Mike was gonna, it was in the budget this year, and that Mike was gonna purchase the pipe and the valves and the hydrants that were necessary in this year's budget. And that he was gonna do the construction. So I think we need, this 200,000 is going to come down significantly relative to next year.
Yeah, we just need to verify that.
Yep.
I know we had one number in there when it first went in the budget a few years ago, and now it's like 200, and I don't know where that adjustment came from. But we just need to verify.
That was from Getz.
Okay. Yeah, we just need to verify that we're still on the list to do that project.
We're definitely going to do it. There's no question about that. We've got to do it because.
No, I mean the DPW is going to do the project, and that's
right.
not where that number changed.
Right.
The Oakland Ave, we want to see. I mean, that's a big project. That's probably not enough money if that project's going to happen. But that's probably a way big number if we just want to do that, try to do that camera thing. I don't know if we still want to try to do that or not.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
If you could give us an example of what water line repairs were done this year, and to just get a sense of what we can actually facilitate, what we can actually do. I mean, I know this has been a unique year with COVID, but nonetheless, it's fine to have these projects, listed, but realistically, if we can achieve them is another question. So I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
We can't, all these projects that are listed, there's no way we could do these. I mean, if we actually wanted to do these in the said year, in my opinion, couldn't be done with our existing workload.
Right.
Realistically.
Right. So that's why we have to pick and choose here. So,
yeah, no, I get it. The reason this list is so, I think it is so, looks so big on here is because Barry and I wanted to make sure that the ones that were on from I think the previous 2 years were put on here. So more importantly, we could revisit so they don't get forgotten. Am I right, Barry?
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty much the same ask as last year.
Wait a second. Last year we had Robert Drive.
Yeah.
What happened to that?
Wait, whoa, time out, back up. When we came and went through the budget process, you ended up coming back and saying, give me a priority list. We gave you the priority list that included all these projects, and we decided that it was necessary that we couldn't afford to do any of them, but one or two. So that's why what you're looking at now on this sheet shows like it was very small, but the ask last year was similar to what it is this year. And
Right.
and it just got.
Listen. Last year, we approved Robert Drive and River Street.
And
So talk to me about Robert Drive. Is that done or is it not done?
Robert Drive is in the works. That is the field, part of the field trip that I have scheduled with Dave, the continuation of that project for this year.
Will it be finished by May 31st?
That I can't answer.
Oh, no.
Well, so I'm trying to just specify these jobs. So if Robert Drive is not going to be finished, shouldn't that be in this year's budget?
Not if it started prior, right?
Well, I don't know. If you're not gonna finish it, then there's gonna be a certain part that has to flip over.
We'd have to discuss that with Dave Getz.
Well, we're gonna need those answers. And what about the River Street? We kept that in last year also. Have we started that? Are we doing anything with that?
That's the one that was intended to be done this year, and that I believe Mike is intending to purchase the materials for that in this year's budget, which is why I'm saying that the 200,000 isn't going to be 200,000 because money's going to get spent this year.
Okay,
I think we need to speak to Mike. Is there a reason he's not here?
Mosier?
Yeah.
Is he normally in these meetings?
Well, there seem to be enough connections. I would think he probably
I meant
should.
for today, for water and sewer. I
Yeah.
didn't invite him because I didn't
Okay.
know.
Is he here in the building?
Uh,
Is he here?
He was earlier. I don't know if he is now.
I can find out if he can call in.
Well, I mean, we can. I guess we can do it later, but because that basically has to happen before we start constructing the sewer plant. Because the only way Jones receives their water right now is on a line that runs from West Street through the sewer plant. And if that were to inadvertently be breached during construction of the sewer plant, then we have one very unhappy customer. And as Chris was saying before, and we're removing a dead end by doing this, and going to have better opportunity for service to the wastewater treatment plant and to Jones.
Okay, so let me review here. Robert Drive, we're trying to find out if we're gonna finish it this year and what's gonna flip over. River Street, we're gonna see what can be done this year and then what's gonna flip over. And Galloway Heights, we absolutely have to do. Is that correct?
Galloway Heights, we're trying to put in the budget this year. For this 21-22.
Right, is that what we
Got nothing to
need
do
to?
with last year.
No,
No,
I'm just trying to figure out if we have to
You're right.
do that.
You're right, Mike.
I'm right that we have to
Yep.
do it. So therefore, John Street and Oakland can wait another year?
And Campbell.
And Campbell?
Yes. Yeah.
Campbell also?
I wouldn't put them on the high priority. Campbell can wait. Oakland can wait. I guess John Street can wait.
Okay, so we need to find out from Moshe about Robert Drive, or at least from somebody about Robert Drive, We have to find out about River Street, what's left.
Yeah, because out of those, River Street has been the priority.
Okay, so it's those two. Robert Drive, Galloway Heights, River Street is the priority to finish all three of those. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep. And I do have a copy of that priority thing that we had from last year.
I just texted Mike. I haven't gotten a response yet, but
Number 3 well was the top priority we came up with from that priority list. And then River Street was on there. That was actually crossed out with a note on it. And Robert Drive was on there. I think that was the ones that were pertaining to water. So are we good on water line repairs?
Oh, okay. Mike's gonna give us a call in a few minutes.
So you want to wait just to verify for River Street?
Well, we can move on.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
so
go
the
back to
land
it.
acquisition, that's still in the budget, correct?
So reservoir maintenance?
Yeah.
I have a question, Barry. Did you guys, I emailed you and Mike Mosier because I seen that article in the Advertiser about the DEC giving away those tree saplings. Did you get that?
I saw it, yeah.
Are we eligible or is it already too late?
I think that was related to stream corridors. So do we have plantings along the stream corridor that comes down from Cascade Road that we'd want to do, or?
Well, right at the reservoir, where we had that landslide was one of the places the mayor was talking about planting trees, weren't you, Michael?
yeah.
Wouldn't that qualify? I just seen the article, so I was just wondering.
Well, we've got this forest management
Yeah.
money in the budget, so.
If you could give me a copy, do you have a copy of that article, Chris?
I believe I saved it on my phone. I took a picture and I emailed it. I'll forward it to you, Michael.
Okay.
But yeah, I put the forest management in the back end anyway. So the land acquisition, Barry, could you speak to that, please?
Oh, that's a guarantee. We're already in there.
We've got a grant, we're good.
Okay.
Forest management is now up from 15,000 last year to 25.
No, that's combined. Forest management and general repairs and maintenance, that's all combined.
Yeah, but I think last year was only 15.
Was it 15 or 10?
Well, that's even worse. Come on, give me a break here. It was 14.
Or better if you want to move it back to what last year was, Mike.
Well, I'd like to move it back down there, yeah. So why don't we make it the same 14,000? The next is hydrants.
Okay. That's pretty self-explanatory. Anybody got any questions?
Why did it go up so much from last year?
Probably
Or
because
from this year, we budgeted 15.
probably because I'm going to try to get more storks, and I want to try to get at least now that we know for sure a wet tap for a hydrant that doesn't have a shut off, and that's the one on the corner of Galloway and Clinton. So in other words, that one where I tried to decrease the pressure, Barry,
Yep.
that hydrant doesn't have an isolation valve. So if a car wings it, there's no way to shut that off unless we go back to cutting that water off, that whole section.
Do you think you'll be able to install all the Storks adapters?
For the whole village?
15,000, no, 15,000 worth.
Oh, yeah.
How much are they each?
about $150, and that's if the price didn't go up dramatically. About $3,000 for 20 of them.
That's an easy change, Barry, and very helpful to the firemen.
Very
Oh,
helpful.
I know.
Yes. 30 seconds is a long time when a house is burning. Or any building.
So what do you want to do about the 35? Now, just a reminder, Chris, because I didn't say this at the beginning. We're going, whatever gets approved, it's going to be subject to what kind of end of the year monies we're left with based on our income and expenses. And some of the stuff might be put on some sort of hold if we can. I know we've never done this before, but this is a unique year. And if the federal money does come in, that might help. But I just wanted you to know there might be, and you will be notified of it, that certain things might have to be held up just so because we might not have the money because our income and expense for water and sewer will, if it's down and we have to use whatever reserve we have, then we might have to cut back a little bit on some of this. Of course, you'll be notified.
Understood.
So the only thing we're waiting for is for Mike Mosier on the river and on Robert Drive.
Yeah, Mike doesn't have anything on Robert Drive. Chris, could you reach out to Dave Getz? And well, we're not going to know that until you guys go look at it, right?
Right. I mean,
can you get him to look at it this week?
we've looked at it. I think I don't know what his holdup is. I mean, I could try to see what his holdup is because our field trip involves more of mapping and hydraulics. Because we've already determined that it's not a total vault replacement like Barbara, right?
Do we know what the cost is going to be of the not total replacement?
I don't think we got that far, but it's got to be less than the total vault replacement. So let me I'll reach out to him and I'll see where we're at. And since it's not going to be a total vault replacement, I can't see why that project can't get started and finished, right?
By the end of May?
By the end of May. But let me call him. As soon as we get done here, I'll put a call into him and I'll see where we're at with getting the ball rolling. And Barry, I'll have him contact you.
Good.
All right.
Okay. So we'll find out from Mike Mosier on river, whatever that is. Okay. While we're waiting for Mike Mosier, we're ready for Keith.
Okay.
Okay, Keith, you're on the firing line.
All right.
I'm going to start with water, F1440.
Well, Keith doesn't have any.
1440 or
That's the engineering.
What number? Oh, okay. 1440, I don't have any input on that one.
1680 is simply IT. I'm just going through this real quick.
Oh, okay.
And 1989. So we're up to pump station. Is that you?
Yep.
Well, are we going to just
320.
are we going to do the water engineering?
Fine. Let's do it.
Chris, no. Yeah, Chris is still here, so I mean he can help out with this, but I mean if we're not gonna do Campbell, then we're not gonna need the engineer. If we're not gonna do John, we're not gonna need the engineer. And
Oakland.
I guess Oakland, we're not gonna need the engineer, so.
Oh,
Those-
Mike's calling. Hello? Hi, hold on, let me, get this phone situated. Are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Mike, we're talking about the project on River.
River Street, water main.
Yes. Apparently you're involved in that somehow?
Somehow, yes, sir.
Well, what's your involvement?
We're gonna put the water line in. We're gonna do it ourselves. I have to buy the material. I want to buy the material before June, since we have most of it in our budget for this year. And then for the next year's budget, I should just have to, any kind of fittings, right, that we need along the way, or backfill material, getting anything put back to condition it was before we started.
Okay, so if you had to enter a guess, how much do you think we need to put in the budget for 22 for River Street?
It's quite a long run, so backfill and everything, I'd imagine it's probably still gonna run the upwards of restoration and everything's probably gonna be maybe 15,000.
15.
1.5.
Anybody have any other questions on Rivers? Thanks, Mike.
My pleasure, sir.
All right, that answers River Street. And apparently we're attempting to finish Robert Drive. So the only project that we have going, changing my page, is Galloway Heights for next year.
No, we've got River Street water main.
Yeah, but that's only
Engineer.
15.
No,
15
for the, we're in engineering. Oh, you're still back
We're
on
back, we're back in the,
okay.
No,
Sorry.
back in the, I'm sorry. So we have Robert Drive, apparently we're gonna try and finish this year. Galloway Heights is the new one. We're gonna work on it next year's budget, 30,000. And River Street, we've got about 15,000 to complete that in the new budget.
And the last three items there.
And the last three items, yes.
that sounds good.
Good. So on the engineering part, we have Robert Drive, maybe, because if it's finished, we won't have any cost, right?
Right.
Galloway Heights and River Street, again, we're gonna have it finished.
Well, no,
So any-
that we're gonna need the engineer to be observing the construction that's going on and doing the as-built and the certification for the health department.
Okay, so that's $6,000 altogether, right?
No,
11,
1 and 5?
11.
Where's the other 5?
Robert Galloway River.
No, Robert's gonna be finished.
Well, we have to ask Dave Getz.
Chris is gonna check on that.
Yeah, we'll check on it. We don't know. Okay, other engineering services. 38 down. What?
Yep, 38 is what we got from Tectonic relative to the dams and reservoirs. Pitton, Garrow, and Doach, well number 3, they have a $42,000 contract, and they're expecting that they'll burn through 21,000 of it before May 31st. So there's 21,000 that needs to carry over. And then there's 35,000 for construction administration, construction observation. assuming that we go ahead with the construction of the well number 3 treatment system. B&L reservoir water storage tanks, CACO, that, if we go ahead and construct the tanks, then we're going to need that. If we don't, and we wait, then that wouldn't be in the mix for this year.
Wait, say that again. I thought we were moving the water storage tanks another year.
And well, unless we get stimulus money.
Wait a second. Are we talking about infrastructure money, which
Right.
is not even in the cards yet?
Infrastructure money, yeah.
So even if that's approved the end of the year, we're not going to see much of that before May of 22.
That's the way you want to roll the dice. That's
I don't
okay.
know. You tell me. So are we going to, do you want to make the reservoir contingent on getting stimulus money, infrastructure money?
Do we have the ability to fund it otherwise?
No, not now.
Okay.
So-
Unless we did use the dam money. But I'm not suggesting that, so.
So do you want to leave something in for engineering and we'll offset it on the income part with potential infrastructure money? Or you want to leave it out completely? What do you want to do?
Which would be the biggest obstacle to moving forward if we got infrastructure money from the feds? I mean, what would be the best way to handle it?
Okay, let's take a look. If there is no federal money from infrastructure, then obviously we're not doing the tank next year, which we're already eliminated. The question is, do we want to do any engineering? Once we commit to the engineering, we're committing to the tank.
The engineering is all done.
It's all done.
The design is all done. This is construction administration, construction observation. So these are the engineering costs during construction of the tank. So if we're not going to do the tank,
Then we take it out.
put money in for the tank, then we take this out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barry,
Yep.
I'm just curious. Barton LaJudas did the design work, right, for the tank?
Yes.
Yes. Now, are we beholden to them to do also the oversight of the construction?
We have not signed a contract with them to do that. It would probably be somewhat unusual to switch at this point in time without a really, really good reason, because, they did the design. They're the ones that are going to have to, make decisions for shop drawing equivalencies in terms of what the design included. So it would probably be difficult to have somebody else pick that up and do it.
Okay. Gotcha.
And what about the water system and preliminary engineering?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want. What they're suggesting we need to do is to package the water projects into a preliminary engineering report that then is very helpful when submitted to the state for grant applications. So if we want to get grant, like we did probably a $70,000 preliminary engineering report for the wastewater treatment plant, and that got us $3 million.
So Barry, so this is an overall water system report? Is that?
Yes.
So it's not project specific as the wastewater treatment plant?
Well, it would be project specific, but it'd be multiple projects at different locations as opposed to the wastewater treatment plant, which was just one location.
Okay. Now, a number of years ago, we did some investigation, engineering, to examine our pump stations and, kind of the basic workings of our water system. That's not the same thing.
That would be used as a base document to get a lot of information from in order to prepare the preliminary engineering report.
Okay.
What's the safe yield analysis?
Oh, we should have kept Mike on the phone. We started this project 5 or 6 years ago, probably, and it's awaiting the installation of equipment that's been purchased. And once the equipment is installed, then the data is recorded, and the engineer has to take that data and use it to analyze the safe yield of the reservoirs.
Okay, moving on. IT network. Whatever it is. Liability insurance, 1910. MTA tax, 1989. There is no contingency. And we're up to the pump station.
What page is that?
8320, page 68.
Thank you.
Is that you, Keith, right?
Yes, my friend, how are you today? You're looking great.
Not gonna help.
Oh, golly.
Okay, we have a couple of power supplies. I mean, it's the same old stuff.
I don't know, the two top things there, the alternative supply, and the gen set for Hilltop. I have not gotten a response yet from our electrical engineer on a price. I met with him a couple weeks ago on site. He thought he'd have prices for me in a day or two. I sent an email this morning even when the Zoom meeting started and haven't got anything back yet. I put that 50,000 in. I have no idea how close or how far I am from it. They both should be kind of small units, I would think. So I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that.
Keith, what about Galloway? You've got it on the next page
Galloway,
on your summary.
See, I don't know. I used, yeah, if you have that, you'll see my notes and things.
Yep.
It says the firehouse may do, so I'm suggesting to wait another year on that.
Well, if the
if
firehouse
they're
does
willing
it,
to-
we're going to have to be responsible for the connection. So we should probably put 5,000 in there for that, for Galloway.
I don't, that was one of the things that Matt Blake was going to look at to see if O&R would let us run our own private line overhead on their poles. So I don't know what it'll take. 5,000 almost seems cheap to me. Doesn't seem like enough.
Wait a second. What about the thing to Southern Lane?
Yeah, the very top line that's in yellow, you may have
Yeah.
a black and white.
$50,000.
That's what I said. I don't know if that number's correct or not. He's looking into the ability of us sending power from the water plant down the road. But that would require, if nothing more, conduits, a trench, and a couple transformers. And truly, I am not educated enough to give you a good number on this. That's why I had waited on this from the engineer, but I don't have the numbers yet.
Was that something we have to do?
No,
Well, no, none of these have to be done. There's nobody putting a gun to our head.
it just comes down to if we need it, alternate power, we have to rent it.
Here's the one thing here I would say should be done, regardless of whether we want to or need to, is the Hilltop pump station, because the Hilltop pump station, although it only supplies 25 homes, Chris could answer that better than I could. The second the power goes out there, they lose pressure, which means the hydrants aren't pressurized. The system's not pressurized. They drop to an insignificant firefighting pressure. Doesn't mean the fire department can't get water down the road, but all that puts a delay. There is a fire pump there. There's storage tank right next to it, so it's just a matter of conveying the water. So without electrical pumps being able to operate, you got no fire protection up there. So I would definitely, Hilltop should have been done when it was installed. It's been many years without it. It could go another year without it. I'm just letting you know.
Seems like an awful lot of money for 25 homes.
I agree. Till the village gets sued, for a $500,000 house burning down, and
Yeah, sure.
just throwing it out there.
All right, so the 50,000 for Southern Lane, we're putting off another year?
Yeah, I
Why
would
not?
think that would make sense.
Okay, and what about Hilltop?
Let's leave it in and see how it works out relative to the other things we want to do and what we can afford.
And
Well,
what the true price is. Hopefully, Blake gets back to you.
Right. And I'll forward that as soon as I have it.
Okay.
and the SCADA system,
Yes.
last year we did. Did
We
do
did Maple. We did Maple. It works great. We're very pleased with it. And so I would like to do 2 every year until we've got all the pump stations covered. And as we put these in, we can drop a phone line for each place because they come with cell phone service. So it's not like I didn't take money out of the phone line budget because you're just paying it in a different place. The cell service is about the same as the landline service.
That went up because,
That went up because I added somewhere further down, our fire alarm system at the new microfiltration plant does not work. It's been out of service now for some time because you can't get heads for it anymore. We tried to get them replaced. They don't make those heads anymore, and the heads went bad because they're not there. It was a poor design. It was a misapplication in the original engineering. That's a high humidity environment, and these heads can't handle that. So they just go bad a lot, and now they don't make them anymore. So now you have to change the entire system. Hyperpulse, who we're going to see further down in the budget, gave us a price, a local guy recommended by the code enforcement officer, and the price seemed really good. He says you got to tear out the whole system and put a new one in.
okay, then there's utilities, repairs and service. Service and merchant
Maintenance.
and maintenance. Okay. Takes care of pump station. Next is purification,
Sure.
page 69, F 8330. Well, number 3. Oh, we did that. Aren't we done with that,
Yes.
or we're doing?
No,
Seems like
No,
That's
we've been doing
being-
that for the last 10 years. Is this?
yeah,
Is
but
this
it's
getting done?
actually maybe gonna get done now. That's the engineering you just agreed to pay for.
I did? Okay, so well, number 3, we're gonna get done this year now? Or the
Yeah,
new year?
Barry, is that number high? Barry, you gave me this number a couple of years ago, so I don't know if you think it's come down some?
I doubt it, but I don't recall the basis for the one from a couple of years ago. And I mean, I'd leave it at that. I certainly wouldn't lower it.
Okay.
Now, what is this $40,000 to relocate the genset?
Okay, when we get to the sewer budget, the Headworks project has a new generator. The generator that's at that facility where the new one's gonna be placed in, is a very good unit and still valuable to us. I wanna move it up to the surface water plant, and use it there where we can't get parts for that generator, it's so old. And the price I got to relocate it and move it and get it all connected and everything, I believe was 38 and change. I actually have a hard quote on that.
And what's this mower equipment?
It's
mean,
just
we
maintenance for our lawn mowers. We got lawn mowers and snow blowers and stuff.
All right. And we got utilities.
And you know, Mike, on this issue, I didn't say anything earlier because it wasn't my place to say. That mower that Chris is asking for, that mows the side hills remotely, I have pictures of where one of my guys almost got killed mowing the lower reservoir when the zero turn rolled down the hill. I've got the pictures of the mower laying upside down in the creek and everything. That's a serious thing. He needs that bad.
Well, that's already
That's
in
not
there.
on my budget, but
Yes.
I quit mowing it because of that, because we didn't have the equipment to do it.
Okay, so we have utilities and we're down to purification repairs.
hey, Mike,
Wait, sorry.
just a question on the well, number 3 construction. Is that a ban? Is that how we're paying that?
Yeah, we do, I forget what we did with that last year, but it's a BAN, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so.
how are we paying it?
We were gonna pay it out of the
Wait a second, I'm being
dam
corrected.
reserve.
Use other options here? Here's a 650.
Yeah, it was originally gonna come from the dam reserve and then we said operations because we had some extra.
Oh, okay. Okay, Sadie reminded me of what we had talked about a year ago. She wasn't here, now she knows and I don't remember. So, we had 2 choices, or actually 3. One is we BAN it. Or number 2, we take it out of the dam money and then replace the dam money. Or number 3, we were gonna take it out of operations for water. Because if you recall, water operations was in a deficit for a long period of time. We have increased some of the rates and that increased some of our income. And then we've got a bunch of money from the state for one of the hurricane repairs. They finally gave us all the money that we had spent out, and that increased our operations for water. So our third option was to take it out of operations. We will figure that out as we get to the end of this.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're back down to repairs. And the big
Okay.
one now is the 60,000 to replace W.
Okay. Let me explain. In 2012, the microfiltration plant went online. At that time, they told me that you should start earmarking money for replacement of modules. They typically have 10-year life expectancies. There's 2 sets of racks. At that time, we didn't. We figured we'd just wait and see how things went. And the racks are fine. I don't see any issues with the modules, and they may last 20 years. But I'm just saying to you, the manufacturer says we're at the end of the expected life expectancy of these things. And so I got a price, because there's 2 racks, I got a price on replacing 1 rack this year and 1 rack next year. And it's $60,000 to do 1 rack. If you want to do both, it's 120.
Or do none.
Or do none. Or do none, yeah. But you need to know this. They told me if a module fails, it has to be taken out and capped. You can't put 1 new module in. There's 20 modules in each rack. You can't just do 1 because that new module will have less resistance, more water will flow through it, and you'll foul the new module. It becomes an easier path. So they said you have to do an entire rack when you do them. You can't just piecemeal this.
And this is 10 years old already?
Well, it went online in 2012, so no, it's not quite, but it's almost there. If you're
So,
asking
Keith-
me, we can't afford that this year, we can skip it, sure. They seem to be fine. Now, I don't see any issues with them. I just know we're at the end of what they said. I don't want you to be surprised I walk in and say, oh, the rack died.
So Keith, is this the kind of part, because it is, I guess, a part that could be purchased and on the shelf in the event of an emergency, or is that?
You'd have to have 20 of them because, as I said, you have to change the entire rack.
Oh, wow.
And they're big. Ours set at Mike's shop, I believe. Chris probably knows better than I do because I think they were already delivered before I even started working here. They were loaded with saline solution, and I think they were at the DPW garage for a year or 2. I don't know if that harms them or not. I don't know. They're a lot of money to just leave laying around, especially if they're going to be exposed to UV light, because it's almost like a plastic sewer pipe with the media inside. I wouldn't think it's a good idea to buy them and put them on the shelf.
Yeah, they probably come with the manufacturer recommendation to not do that. Would be my guess.
Turnaround times, you know, it's certainly dependent on what's going on, but generally, I mean, they should have them pretty much available. Maybe you can check.
Yeah,
that.
I might have that right in front of me. Change up man schedule. A total of 20 modules. No, I'm not seeing a lead time. Oh, wait a minute. Lead time from notification. Oh, no, that's on-demand service. Nope. It does not say.
Keith, are are there any indicators that are available that would let us know that, one of the tubes in the rack is going to fail?
Yes and no. There is transmembrane pressure recordings that you get before and after CIPs. Ours are not out of parameter. It's basically after you chemically clean how much free space you got back in the media. It's almost like a backwash, only it's done chemically. We're still in great shape. And additionally, these tubes, each one of these 20 tubes has 1,000 or so long pieces of spaghetti, about 10 feet long, that hang down in there that the water almost sweats into, and then there's a hollow center and the water comes out. And if they crack, now you've got an open tube. We have not had a single failure on the 40 tubes. Not a single one has failed since it went online. So it's not even like it's showing signs of failure. I honestly, I don't believe we need them yet. I'm just bringing this is the time to bring it to the forefront. I can keep adding this on next year's budget saying, next year. Yes, sir.
Keith, educate me. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. You said that if we replace them, we have to replace all 20, and each
Yes.
one is $60,000.
No. That's for a full rack.
Oh, okay.
A rack of 20 is 60,000.
I just did the math, and I was like, holy.
And they were originally $3,500 a tube when they put them in 2012. That's what they told me. So the prices actually come down even with inflation. So.
Barry?
So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't see a need to put it in there. If we had some, problem emerge during the next year, we'd have to find a way to get the money to fix it.
Okay. So we'll take it out for now. And we'll obviously.
And we'll keep bringing it up every year, Keith.
But to be honest, I'm comfortable with removing it. It's just now everybody's aware of it.
And we also take out the capital reserve, that. Talk about that.
Yeah, you do that to me every year.
Every year. Service maintenance, 29,000.
Well, let's back up a little bit. It's not really capital. I think Keith, we need to rename it for next year. All right, maybe we'll get it through. It's basically for unanticipated failures. Right?
It says that. It says, look.
I know, but
it says unforeseen
you say capital
failures right
reserve,
there.
and it's not like we're going to save the money year to year. So
I'm gonna put a note there.
But,
Rename.
And again, if something unanticipated happens and we don't have a little bit of money in the budget for it, then we have to figure out how to find it. And I would suggest we put 5,000 or 10,000 in there for it.
Well, we're not doing any capital reserve stuff. I don't think we need to do that. If we have an emergency, we'll find the money. I think it's much easier that way.
But Keith is listed, he's got to buy anthracite, he's got to buy electric and HVAC, he's got to replace some modules, he's got repairs, and then these become unforeseen failures.
Yeah.
So he can't guess. I mean, he knows what some of the things he has to do, but the others, they're going to pop up, and he's either going to have to jump around to find money, or we're going to have. Well, we're going to have to do that if something comes up.
Yeah, I think we can do that. I would rather not start a situation where we're putting money for unforeseen. But and in the last 5 years, he's been pretty good about what we're budgeting and what we're spending. I'd like to leave it out.
Okay.
Service maintenance. It's up about 7,000.
The
Keith, the-
hyperpulse thing is in addition. That's the fire alarm on the bottom there.
Keith, the security camera, I thought we were doing that this year. Was it in the
They
budget
put
for this
one-
year?
They put one at the surface water plant and they put one at the sewer plant. It doesn't cover, when Chris's building got, I don't know what you call it, robbed,
Vandalized?
whatever, they broke in and they stole everything, you would have never even seen it because they didn't go out that way. They went out up, the police followed them in the snow up through the reservoir. I think that's the way they went.
Yep, they sure
But
did.
so you're not covering the real assets of this facility with a camera. You're only seeing who's driving in the gate and who's driving out. You're not seeing what's in their truck, what they're bringing or taking.
I'm not questioning whether we should do it. I was just questioning, I thought something had been done this year. And so this
One
is in
camera.
addition to what's been done.
Yeah, over and
Okay.
above, yes.
And we're replacing the fire alarm system.
Yeah, I
You told
think
us
our
about that
insurance
10
company
minutes
would
ago.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I wasn't here. Okay, so.
it's a shell game, Mike. That's how,
Yeah, I understand. Special department supplies, and now we're down to testing, 26,000. And that's up by 5,000.
Yes, because the new EPA regs requiring us to sample more.
Chemicals, you've knocked that down, is there a reason?
Yeah, if the UV project is done in this upcoming budget year, we won't have to feed bisulfite anymore, which is a substantial price. Or no, excuse me. I'm on another budget. Why did I knock this down? I don't know. I think I just based it on, it's based on the consumption this year. Yeah, it's not like,
Takes care of water.
okay.
Now we'll go to sewer. Now the engineering, let's see, legal services,
I guess I can excuse myself.
sorry,
I can excuse myself.
You're free to go, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank
go,
you.
Chris, please.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Chris.
I got that email. We'll follow up on those trees.
I already sent it.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you.
okay, engineering, we have,
Question on the legal. Why are we have to pay 20,000 for EFC bond counsel for the new sewer plant? I mean, unless I'm
That's it, last year.
misunderstanding. I'm sorry?
That was the same from last year.
Not
Okay,
sure
then let's leave it in. I don't have reason to change it then. And then, so sewer engineer, contracted services, we need to
Everything.
include money for flow monitoring that we had in same that we had in last year. We're gonna have to continue this probably for another couple of years. So need to add in $30,000
what?
under sewer engineer contracted services.
Speaking of $30,000, Barry, the engineering for the salt barn, whoa. Why is it so high?
It's about 10% of what the I mean, that's basically what I went with, was 10% of the construction costs. Construction costs going to be about, I think, 250 to 300. So normal engineering to
Share.
cover
He wants this,
design and
but it's
construction,
isn't it?
administration, construction observation. That's
Yeah,
a
it was
pretty
25.
standard percentage.
But if we go with a kind of a module type pre-engineered facility, then would it be that? I mean, basically, I
only thing
understand
that's-
the engineering of the basically foundation of the structure, but beyond that, it seems like it's already done.
Right.
I didn't-
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I did the seat of the pants, 10%, and it may be less than that. I didn't have time to reach out to Barton and LaJudas to get more accurate.
Or would we
Well, it was
reach out to,
25,000 last year.
or would we reach out to the company that we're interested in purchasing the prefab unit from and ask them, what is the typical engineering for a project of this type?
We could do that.
Okay. Sorry.
No. So Mike, did you have questions on the flow monitoring, 30,000?
Is that what we were gonna put in there? We had 25 last year.
Put 25 in then. We'll work within that. I think it ended up being more than that last year. Yeah, it's probably that 28 we're looking at. Maybe Barton, maybe Getz had some of that 28. I can't say for sure.
Okay, other professional services. Oh, man.
So the B&L UV CACO, $89,900, take it out. It'll be done this year.
And the 70,000?
70,000 is the CACO for the
The water treatment plant upgrade, I think it was a carryover balance.
No, I don't think it was, but or maybe it might have been in there like that, but it's to do assuming that the treatment plant is ready to go out to bid in spring of 22, late winter, spring of 22. There's 15,000 there to handle the bidding, and I think 15,000 was the amount they gave me to start the contracting and shop drawings and things like that. So that was their, as it gets going, amount that might get spent in 2021, 2022.
So we should knock that 70 down to 30?
No. Oh. I'm gonna have to, let me. Maybe it was 35 each.
Well, that's what we had in the budget last year. We didn't use any of it?
I don't think so.
Uh-oh, what's happening?
It's me.
I don't have any.
I think we have spent some of that this year, Barry.
Yeah, I'm looking for the email I got, from Jason. Let's see. Assuming bidding in February 22 with award and contracts in late March, bidding fee of 40,000 will be spent between February and April of 22. Construction will start in late April, May of 22, but initial ramp up in the remainder of the next fiscal year will be small at first, so maybe another 30,000 for construction administration. So that's where the 75, I'm sorry, that's where the 70,000 came from.
Okay, now the 358 for the new sewer plant, aren't we gonna spend that all by May 31st?
No. No, that work's gonna continue on past May 31st. And, probably till December or January.
That was the original 800,000 number, right? And we're saying we're gonna spend a good portion of it until May. And this is the remainder for next year.
Right. The estimate was starting next fiscal year, there will be approximately 358,000 of the original design to be completed, which is estimated to occur between June 1st and December 31st.
Okay, next is the IT, 1680, which is fine. Liability insurance is fine. MTA tax, contingency, which there's none. Now we're up to page 88, sewer administration, G8110. And in that is the contract, which is by contract. And that brings us to page 90, sewer plant, G8120.
I'd like to just, while we were doing engineering, I checked my email and Matt Blake did email me back. I forwarded Raina and Barry and Michael this email.
Yeah.
The numbers for the generators back on the water. Southern Lane is 140 to 150,000.
What?
Galloway Heights.
Once we pass something, you can't go back.
Galloway Heights is 20 to 30,000.
All right, wait a
And
second.
Hilltop,
Southern Lane was how much?
140 to 150 is his estimate.
Okay, we're not doing that this
Yep. Galloway
Hilltop is-
Heights, which we may have to do this year, is 20 to 30. That's the one the firehouse is putting in a new generator on.
year. Well, we didn't have that in the budget.
I know, that's the one Barry said, let's put 5,000, but he had to check to see. Obviously, they're not allowing us to go overhead because he has it as undergrade. And then Hilltop Lane, my number was pretty close, 45,000 to 55,000. That's for a complete standalone generator.
So for equipment, we have to add 20,000 for the firehouse?
If you do the Galloway Heights, and I don't think you can't. I mean, they're going to be doing the majority of the work for us. If we don't do this, we'd end up spending 100,000.
All right, so what do we have to put in there? Galloway Heights.
I would put 30,000. I'm going to go with the two high numbers, 30,000 for Galloway and 55 for Hilltop. Which will probably mean Hilltop goes away, but it is what it is.
Okay. All right, we're back to the sewer plant. Under equipment, you have 100,000 for a new gen set. You see these before? And then you have two,
Well, the 100,000, take that out.
oh dear.
What
What
it's
about
gonna
the
be,
16,000? Don't we have that already? Aren't we buying those in water?
No,
that's for,
What?
no, this is something different. This is, you're on 8122,000, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, it says new gen set or alternative power supply to Robin Bray. See my note to the left? It says possibly will be done by Village View, the development.
right, so we're
So-
taking it out.
it is,
Barry,
it will be, It's part of
Okay.
it's part of that project.
slice it right out of there then, Mike.
And the 16,000 are two of these, SCADA panels.
Yep, that's the same thing like Maple Avenue, yes.
But for the sewage treatment pump stations,
Sure, yes, yes, yes.
not the water pump
Different
stations,
system.
which is what we funded
Correct.
in the other
And
one.
we're doing four now.
Two
Right.
and two on drinking water and two on wastewater.
Okay, then we're down to collection systems.
We did that
We
the other
did.
day with Mike.
We did that with Mike the other day, yeah.
What's that mean? Take it out?
No, it's just in DPW. He went over this. We already talked about it the other day.
All right. Then we have cable, utilities, repairs. Repairs.
Yeah, let's talk about repairs.
We take out the
Again, this
50,000.
Again, this morning, I got an email that I forwarded to you folks we have two RBCs that are broken at the moment. One we thought we could get along without, then another one went bad. I got a local quote of just under 9,000 to fix it. I started making phone calls and the first price came in. To do the same repair that they want just under 9, this company in Maine wants 35,000 for. So we won't be going with them. But they also gave me a price to repair the broken one, which is 44,250, which is that number that I have in there. That's to cover if we have to do that repair. If we have another serious breakdown like that, that's what it's going to cost to fix it. You've got to leave that in there, that 46,000
What 46,000?
that's in repairs. Actually, no, I put a 0 because this all happened after I turned in the budget.
Oh,
We got to add that.
Oh,
Put a 1 where I
sorry.
got a 0.
he's looking on his sheet. That's why.
Oh. So what do we have to add? How much?
That 46,000. I have money to fix one of the units now. That'll leave us with one still offline. If another one fails in a serious manner, it will have to be fixed, and that's what it costs.
So do we have to put it in the budget to fix? Because one needs to be done?
Well, unless you want to go and say, well, let's see what happens. And if it happens, we'll find the money.
Wait a second. Is there one broke now that we have to fix?
There's 2 broke we have to fix. I can get away with 1 broken with no problem. I can fix the one that's not broken too bad right now out of the current budget. But if we do have another critical failure, that one side's expensive, the other side's inexpensive. If an expensive side fails during the whole next budget year, this is what it will cost to fix it.
But it is broken.
One is.
The plant can function without problems with one broken. and maybe 2.
There's 15.
But the more that break, the more difficult it is to meet our discharge standards and not be in violation. So I
should
think
we-
I think what Keith is saying is that if we get through next year with only the one that isn't going to get repaired now broken, we can survive. If a second one were to go down with this with the same type of problem, we're going to have to bite the bullet and probably go ahead and fix it.
All right.
So it would make sense to put that 46,000 in the budget.
Okay. Okay, now we have pump station repairs, 450,000. Orchard Street, what's that?
I think that's the vertical screen, right, Keith?
Oh,
Yeah, I think he skipped a paper on me here, not in order. Headworks, yes. That 8120 4500, is that the line?
Right.
Yes, yes. And I don't know where we're at with that because engineering and design just keeps going and going and going.
Sadie, we've paid TAM on that probably
Yes.
close to 100,000 so far.
I want to say 200.
2. Okay. So
Is that-
what?
That's what
Whatever-
this is?
Yep, it's the vertical bar screen, or
Okay.
forget what else it's called. So yeah, so that this can be adjusted by how much
We
we
pay.
paid so far, and then we also have to probably make some sort of an estimate as to how much we expect will be paid between now and June. And I mean, I'd like to think it's going to be done by then, but I'm not absolutely sure on that because we're still waiting to deal with some of these issues we're having with EFC that's holding up the contract. It has to do with this vertical bar screen. So.
And the TAM contract was only 375, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll trust your memory on that.
That sounds right.
This was probably the original engineer's estimate that Keith's been carrying forward.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 375.
so we should take this out because it's all going to be done by May 31st, right?
Not necessarily. I think we need to reduce it by how much we've paid to date. And then in addition to that, look and just see if there looks like any of the cost is going to be carried over in the next fiscal year.
I think it should be at least 150 for now.
All right, we're going to change that to 150 for now. Okay, supplies, sludge disposal. Testing. And that brings us to major projects. On page 92, 8120 4950.
This is budgeted in.
Orchard Street vertical screening. Now, wait a second.
Yeah,
Is
we
it-
have it budgeted in 2 lines. That's the problem. That's where it should be. So this 450 is coming completely out. This is in the wrong line.
Okay, that's coming out and now it's 228,000. And we think it should be about 150.
You're okay.
Actually, this number's wrong. That's what we've paid to date out of the 375.
Don't hurry.
Is everybody with me?
Clarify that number.
Okay, we're under major projects.
Yeah.
In the previous number, we had 450 for the vertical Orchard Street. That's in the wrong spot.
I
So we took
understand
that
that.
whole 450 out.
Yeah.
And now we have 228 here. We believe that's what we paid already. So we're gonna put 150 in that number. Minus whatever we pay the end of the year. Now, the UV installation, Songa, have we,
That,
done?
all that's zero. And the, and O'Connell Electric, that's zero. It's gonna be done before the end of the year.
Are we sure? We haven't paid O'Connell anything yet.
They just, we had on our call last Friday, Karen was saying that they're going to be in there doing considerable amount of work. Keith, have you seen them yet?
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, but
Okay, should be done.
And what about the UV other? Is that gonna be done too?
I'm not sure what that is.
UV other, I don't have that on my
No.
thing. What is that?
I think that was operator error by me.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
let's take that out too. That's what I like. So 343 comes out also, 353.
Yep.
Okay, we got the lab permit. We got
Keith, just
chemicals.
the question on the bathroom and shower and fixtures replacement.
Yep.
That is, are we, you're not doing any work that's gonna get redone by Barton and LaJudas, right? This is in an area
No,
that's
no, no,
untouched
no,
and they're
no.
not gonna do this anywhere else?
No, they're not doing anything on that end. They're just doing the actual
Okay.
process. No,
Okay,
this is
thank you.
There's a broken shower there and
Yep, thanks.
I think that's it, right?
looks like it.
Thanks very much, Keith.
You're quite welcome.
Mike, we're going to executive session now?
Okay, I'll end the meeting and have Raina send you all a new.
Okay, thank you.
Sadie, I sent you that budget number from Matt Blake too just now. Sorry, I
Okay.
didn't send it in there.
That's okay.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Thank you.